Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
Tired of the emotional roller coaster that this week has taken us on.
Yeah. I got a couple of hot takes. So a little bit of inside baseball. I sound like I'm in the Taj Mahal right now, and if you're watching video, I'm in the white void of loneliness, as Brad coined it. It's because I'm moving offices, and so I don't have my shelf and everything up by the time we're recording. So all of that will be back normal, but I don't have my sound blankets up and all that other shit. So that's why I sound a little echoey in my new office. So I apologize for that. It is merely temporary. So there you go. So let's get into it. Yeah, this week sucked. It sucked.
It sucked, and then it seemed to be getting better, and then we're back to sucks again.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
So. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the big story this week is about Alex Pretti being killed in Minneapolis. This guy was an ICU nurse, seemed to be a good dude by all accounts. Frankly, I don't care even if he wasn't a good dude. That irrelevant. He had a run-in with ICE where he was trying to protect a woman who they just pushed over. They just walked up. You watched the whole video. He just walked up and knocked this woman down. He went over to help her. They maced him in the face at like point blank range immediately. So he's just kind of like falling or whatever. And I guess they noticed that he had a gun. I have my suppositions of how the events actually went, but from what you can tell, at least from the outside, they noticed he had a gun. A bunch of agents jumped on him. One ICE agent removed his gun from him. He never took it out of his holster at all. They took the gun from him, and then two ICE agents proceeded to shoot him 10 times in the back, killing him. And then some of them high-fived afterwards, which is really disgusting and sick. And so then, like, the White House came out and was like, yeah, this guy's a fucking terrorist, and an assassin was the term Stephen Miller used, and more on her later. Kristi Noem, the other one, she went out there and said some pretty horrible things about how this guy wanted to, kill agents, and then Bovino stood on an Apple box and said, hey, this guy wanted to, deal maximum damage to ICE agents and
with a 9mm pistol.
Right. Like
certainly the weapon of choice of all mass shooters in every incident.
But he had two magazines. Like, okay.
Oh, well.
Who is he? Yeah. John Wick? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we've seen enough mass shootings to know a 9mm, to your point, is not the gun you use when you want to kill a bunch of people. That doesn't make sense. Nor do you get right in their face. Like, that's kind of the whole thing with the whole mass shooting thing. You shoot from a distance. Yeah, this week showed me a lot of things. And I think a lot of people have a lot of very interesting takes, I would say, but I certainly have a few.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like when they killed Renee Good, like the thought to myself was, wow, like that was insane.
Yeah.
I doubt that you'll ever like an amazing, blatant murder, where they're completely in the wrong, like no justification for it whatsoever. At least they won't do anything that wild ever again. And then apparently, I guess ICE was like, "Well, hold my beer."
Yeah, smash cut the 2 weeks
somehow an even more egregious murder. Like at least with the Renee Good thing, like if you were arguing in bad faith, you could be like, "Well, she was trying to drive the car in the ICE agent," even though like every video that
she wasn't.
That doesn't bear that out as a fact. Like you can at least kind of stand on that to somewhat justify it,
right?
But again, it falls flat. But again, what's your justification in this case? The dude, like to your point, on the ground. He was the
hands up, by the way, like he was on the ground with his hands. Yeah.
The gun that he was carrying legally, had been removed from his person before any shots were fired by the agents. I mean, what they did just amounted to a summary execution. And for what? For stepping in when ICE was abusing a woman in the middle of the street. That's literally it. I've seen some of the the real fucking right wing clowns try to suggest because he was filming the interaction on his phone, that like his phone that he had in his hand looked like a gun, which is like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
Like I watched the video. No, it didn't, because I saw it was like the News One guy or not News One, News. What is it? One News Network or whatever it is.
The fucking Newsmax guy.
Yeah, Newsmax, whatever it is. And he's holding the phone like this. I'm like, at no point in the video was he holding the phone like that. Like,
right, he was literally holding it in his hand,
like this.
Like he was palming it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Like, what are you talking? Like, come on, man. And this is the same idiot who went on the news and said he compared Alex Pretti to the BTK killer, which is the most insane thing. And by the way, if you think, hey, like I often think about like this show, and I have a severe case of like imposter syndrome when talking about the news sometimes. And then I realize don't, because that guy's on national television and he thinks that comparison makes sense. As it, like he's saying it, and I'm like, did a brick fall on your head? The same one that fell on John Fetterman's this week? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's insane, just absolutely insane take.
Well, and then you see, and then in the time since this murder happened, a video's come out. So apparently, this guy had an interaction with ICE earlier last week. Or
like 11 days ago.
Yeah, where he was. So I can't remember. I didn't watch the video of the other interaction, but like apparently, like he, broke a tail light on one of their cars or something, and they fucking attacked him there as well. Broke a rib, basically in there, and people were like, "Oh, like see, like this, shows that he was a bad dude." And it was like, assume the worst from that video.
Sure,
still doesn't justify the fact that you murdered him in the middle of the street, and if anything, makes ICE look worse because now you've opened the possibility of suggestion that they knew who this guy was,
right?
And perhaps this was a vindictive, like a revenge kind of a situation in some ways.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't think that's true, but I'm saying the possibility now, like now that we know that interaction happened, it's something that you can say that is in the realm of possibility. To be clear, I don't think that's the case. Like, I don't think there was any commonality between ICE agents. I don't think they had a picture of this fucking dude like hanging.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a little overblown. And I've seen people have that take.
But to suggest that video is like somehow exonerates ICE for murdering this guy. Like, no, it doesn't. Not in any sense of anything.
Like you said, it makes it worse. I mean, the interesting thing is that's sort of the theme of the entire interaction, or this entire Alex Pretti situation, because like here the Republican Party, like their other thing is, well, you're not allowed to bring guns to a protest. That like loaded guns, you can't do that. It's like, you're saying this? Like
so what you're saying is that so we're going to stop being upset about like the Ashley Babbitt situation, I guess, right, or whatever. I was like, but also like if the National Guard had come in and just started mowing down Jan Sixers like that, so you're cool with that? Okay, cool. Like that's I was under the impression that you've been trying to tell us forever that people should be able to carry guns anywhere for any reason all the time
in the State House, the whole 9 yards, right? Yeah, that's the impression I've been under. Kyle Rittenhouse was celebrated as a hero at the RNC. Like they did a whole song and shit, right? So like that made no sense.
I will say that like that whole thing being the narrative, once they fucking realized that like, oh shit, this guy is a VA nurse, like this guy is a white dude, like once
he's an American,
all this stuff, right? That them pivoting to that immediately was so fucking satisfying, because like an all-time like dude, we told you like on this podcast about like people, there's a lot of people out there who are just like, well, they're really principled about the Second Amendment. No, they're not. They're not at all.
No.
Yeah, they're principled about their ability to wield the Second Amendment when it's convenient for them, not for people that they don't like to be able to carry it.
I mean,
anyway.
History shows you that. Like, we need to have the Second Amendment. Hey, I'm a Black Panther in California in the 70s. okay, well, here's the thing. Like,
yeah, we got to ban all the guns.
That's I'm an addendum to my very hard-felt, hard-held ideology. But I mean, it's so the whole idea of like now we're not allowed to bring guns, and I don't remember if it was you or Andy says like, I did not see liberals winning the Second Amendment in the national divorce. We're like, I guess we're defending it now, which is weird, right? Because I'm not a gun person, right? Like I think you should have the right to own a gun.
Nor am I. Yeah.
Right. I get it. I think there should definitely be like certain guns you should not have. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not one of these people like, you need an AR-15 in case somebody breaks in your house. No, you don't. Like, you don't. And also, how many enemies do you have? Like, this is an insane argument, right? Like, right. And it's locked and loaded. Like,
real enemies, Jay. Like, I'm sure they have many perceived enemies.
Yes.
How many enemies?
Yes. Perceived. Like, for the amount of perceived enemies I have, I need a rocket launcher.
And again, like the stated reason why they were incredibly gung ho about the Second Amendment is what? Well, what if we need to defend ourselves against the government?
Right. And it's like, yeah, that sounds like, and it's easy to make fun of because we're like, okay, one, they have drones and shit like that. But then you should be celebrating Alex Pretti for carrying in a situation with jackbooted thugs.
To his credit, Kyle Rittenhouse is out here like, what the fuck is this talk about? You should kill him for having a gun.
He was like, nah.
Kyle Rittenhouse, you would have looked like a fucking idiot if you had been out here. Well, you can't.
I think that might be wrong.
Mil.
Yeah, no, I don't want to give that guy credit for fucking anything. But yeah, he was just like, no, you should carry everywhere. I was like, well, I mean, at least he's consistent. Like you have to say that. So yeah, I mean, Trump coming out, was it Trump, Bavino, Tom Homan, fucking Kash Patel. He was like, you're not allowed to have guns like at a protest, which is insane. And it's just like, bro, how many protests? Like people were just like Googling and just showing all of these conservatives with not 9mm concealed carry, straight up like AR-15s, long guns across their chest. Right. Yeah. I'm like, come on.
And I do want to also point out something that the media is falling down consistently on with this, because everyone keeps calling him like, which Correct. Is something you're legally allowed to do. But it was not a protest. Like people are observing what ICE is doing in the streets.
And I think I honestly think that's what got him killed, is the idea of because he was filming.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what people expect from the right at this point. There is no principle that they have that they will not jettison to win an argument. Like you have to understand that. Like you could say, oh, well, surely the Second Amendment, that's the last bastion. No, it isn't. Hey, look, I'm going to tell you right now, they'll jettison being pro-life if they need to win an argument. Like they will do it. They do not care because they don't believe in anything. The only thing they actually truly believe in is power. And if they can lie or obfuscate or throw away any of these other things that people think that they believe in order to gain more power in a situation or overall, they will do it 100%. So, I mean, I've long argued that these people aren't even pro-life. Like they're pro-choice because they're like, well, I'm pro-life except for these. I'm like, then you're pro-choice. like even you don't even know your own arguments because they don't actually mean anything to you. And it just goes to show you the gun argument doesn't actually mean anything to them. And to your point earlier, they just want their ability to have them. They don't care about you not having the ability. I mean, look, the NRA was like, no, we are not backing down on this. Like, no, we don't find this acceptable. But
I think you're giving the NRA a little too much credit. They gave kind of a mealy mouth, like, hey, there should be an investigation. Like, you shouldn't be demeaning someone for carrying a gun. But they weren't also like,
yeah, they weren't gung ho about it. Look, they're doing better than they did with what was it? Castile.
Philando Castile.
Yeah, Philando Castile. Like they were just like, mum's the word, and then they just didn't say anything. And everyone's like, where the fuck is the NRA? They're like, bro, we're like mad busy. Like we got a lot of membership this week. Like we ain't gonna talk about this shit. So IG, I wonder what the difference is. But all that being said, the response from the White House about guns is just, I mean, it's just hysterical. And I love that like 2A people aren't just like, what the fuck? They're just like, it's an interesting take. I'm like,
no, that's not entirely fair. I've seen a lot of people that are on the right being like, hey, like what the fuck is Trump on?
Yeah, I haven't seen enough.
That they won't immediately
I haven't seen
capitulate over to that once they once the next thing fucking pops up. But I have seen a lot of people on that side kind of be like, what the fuck? Like but this is bullshit. Like, because again, like a lot of Republican voters are very principled in their insane principles that they have. Yeah. What they don't understand is that Trump and the people around him
they don't believe in anything.
Very much are not.
Yeah, no, they don't believe in anything at all. Yeah, I've not seen it. And look, it could be my bubble in fairness, but I've not seen a ton of people come out. I've seen a few come out and say, "Hey, this is not acceptable." But I've not seen like what I would imagine the response would be if a Democrat said this. Like if a Democratic president was like, "Yeah, they shouldn't have had that gun." I feel like it would have been fucking everywhere with people losing their minds 24 hours a day. Oh my God, Joseph Stalin is coming for our guns. But meanwhile, the guy you praise is the only guy to like do any level of restriction on guns in the last, I don't know, almost 20 years, right? With the bump stocks. And now he's saying this shit. And then he also said, I think you should take the guns first in like domestic violence issues and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know, guys, considering like the whole fascism thing, they really don't like people having guns. That's why you don't have guns in fucking Russia.
Is that they want to make sure that they can keep the populace in line.
Absolutely. Gee, I wonder remind me again, what's the rule on guns in Russia? Oh, right. You can't have any. That's true freedom. Except for like a big one that you guys like really love, depending on the day. So after this happens, so the crazy response from the country basically was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, this is, come on, guys. We're just kind of bringing ourselves back down from the Renee Good thing, right? And then this thing happens. And like you said, it's even more egregious, like, because it's just ridiculous. And especially the, like, he's got a gun. And it was like, okay, like, but you guys champion everyone having guns. So please explain why we should be mad about this. Then there's a letter that's sent because, everyone's like, Kristi Noem needs to go, and this is getting out of hand. Da, 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 da. But then there's a letter sent from the DOJ, from Pam Bondi to Tim Walz, saying, "Hey, man, we'll leave. I know you guys are mad. You guys are big mad, but we'll leave Minnesota. We'll leave you guys to it if you give us your voter rolls."
Among other things, like it wasn't just that they were just like, hey,
and your SNAP benefits information, like basically, they wanted full access to the state's Medicaid and SNAP records, so that her office could, quote, efficiently investigate fraud, and then she also wanted voter registration rolls, right, the voter rolls,
and for them to end the sanctuary state policy that they have.
Get fucked
in Minnesota.
Yeah, well. Get fucked.
Yeah. Oh, I mean that's basically what Tim Walz.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, if you guys do this, we'll back off.
By the way, speaking of another right wing principle that they just bail from at the slightest notion, like whatever happened to federalism that we've been told is so important? States' rights.
Which state? The state of us.
Yeah, at which right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it seems like when we talk about states' rights, there's really only one that you guys focus on.
And now that one's wavering. Like it's on shaky fucking ground. Look, I think it's easy to say what this is, and you'd be correct. This is corruption at its finest, right? Like, and it's the worst kind, which is you're not even slick about it. Oh, we killed one of your citizens. I mean, we'll leave if you just give us what we want. What kind of mob tactics are those?
They're never beating the mafia administration allegations here. This is literally like protection racket shit, essentially.
Oh, like it. Oh, that's a nice. Those are nice voter rolls you have there. Be ashamed if something happened to your state. Like, maybe just give them up.
You don't want to hear rough up your citizens. Like, well, it looks like you're going to need to give a little something to us to kind of grease those kids.
Yeah, and to his credit, Tim Walz was like, "Go pound sand, get the fuck out of here." Like, absolutely not. I don't like. I saw a number of people talking about this. This idea like the midterms are already rigged, and we had a whole back and forth in one of our groups about this. And I told people, I said, listen, you got to stop saying that. I'm not saying they're not going to try. Example number 1005, right?
Sure.
Stop saying that they're already rigged, because when you say that, people go, "Oh, cool. I don't even need to worry about it because it's already fucked." People give up. People love giving up, right? They love giving up. It doesn't mean you should not be aware of what is happening. But stop acting like there is no hope and that's it. That's a dangerous game to play.
Well, and for a couple of reasons. So again, number one, we have to remind people, federal government has no role whatsoever in adjudicating and executing elections. All of that stuff is run by the state. Right. Now, if you happen to live in a state that's controlled by Republicans,
that's a problem.
Are they going to engage in some fuckery? Absolutely. But that fuckery is not going to be like, hey, like we're going to somehow like change the votes, or like they try to disenfranchise people by closing polling centers and making it harder for people to, be able to get to where they need to vote, and to institute like voter ID laws and stuff like that, like stuff that they can do to fuck with elections. And that's been going on a lot for the last 15, 20 years, especially. So that's number one, is that the federal government can try as they might, but they need literal cooperation from the states in order to be able to fuck with elections. Now, are they going to try some things this election season, like maybe having ICE agents, 100%. Outside polling places to quote unquote look for illegal, migrants that are trying to vote or whatever? Yeah, like they're going to try that shit like that. But again, like their ability to actually touch and manipulate elections is not really existent. That's thing number one. Thing number two, in order to pull something like that off, would take a really well coordinated and secretive and effective effort by people who are very smart. And I'm not sure what exactly you've seen from this administration to suggest that they're capable of pulling off such a feat.
Yeah.
If anything, every like major initiative that we've seen them attempt to do has gone down in flames, or just been like the most Mickey Mouse bullshit that you can fucking possibly imagine. Yeah. Look at what's happening with ICE.
Right? Yeah. Look what's happening with ICE. Look what happened last week in Davos. Like there's new shit with Canada. Like they are a bunch of fuck ups. Now, I'm not saying, again,
and that's not to say that they can't cause damage, because obviously they're causing a lot of damage. But in order to be able to manipulate elections to such a degree, to be able to find to be able to literally turn results over, would require a level of competency that this administration just does not possess.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it is. I don't want people to.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be concerned. I'm
no,
saying
you should absolutely be concerned, especially what's happening with the FBI, which we'll talk about in a moment. Like, you should be concerned. But one thing I have very much noticed about Democrats and sort of left-leaning people is they love to tell people to get out and vote, get out and vote. We got to take down the bad guys, blah, blah, blah. But then they spend so much time convincing people that everything is fucked and it's rigged and there's nothing you can do and we're all going to die and we're all going to lose. And I think people forget that even offhanded comments constantly like that, that's a type of voter suppression. You're a part of that same voter suppression, because people go, well, I guess who cares, right? Because it's not the decisions that people make when they vocalize it to you. It's on election day where they go, I mean, I keep hearing so-and-so say it's rigged or whatever. And then people just don't go. And they tell you they went, and they just don't go. And then they go, well, look at the results. Yeah, I guess they were right. Yeah, that's a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So maybe you don't spend all of your time telling everyone it's fucked. Tell people that they're trying to do these things, and you got to get out and fight back at it, right? Like, you beat voter suppression by just flooding the system, right? Just as many people as possible. It's like, yeah, we suppressed 20,000 voters. Cool, we brought 50,000, right? And so, like, you do that and by pushing. You don't do that by constantly undercutting your own message.
And also understand, like, we see how bad things are now. I mean, literally, Americans are being murdered in the streets by the federal government. The economy is still fucked. Grocery prices are still high. Tariffs are still in place, and our goods are fucking costing more money than ever. People still can't afford housing. Like the affordability crisis is still very much concerned.
Yeah.
Do you think that all of this stuff is magically just going to get better in the next 10 months? That people are going to forget that Donald Trump and the Republican Party are in charge of the mess that the country's in right now? I don't think so. In fact, I think it's probably going to get even worse as time goes along, especially if Trump is able to do things like somehow oust Jerome Powell from the Fed in some way, shape, or form, and then all of a sudden he has direct control over what the interest rates are doing in the country, and what other foreign countries is he possibly going to fucking lead strikes and invasions and shit like that into as time goes along. Those are things that could still very much happen between now and December, or down in November. Because again, this dude is not like a strategic player in any way, shape, or form. He's a 79-year-old with dementia.
Yeah.
So if you
with a bunch of yes men around him, which is even more dangerous.
Right. So like, if you think that people are going to be less willing to vote for Democrats in November, I think you need to understand the reality in which we find ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, man, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand these people. Okay, I do want to go back on something, or go back to something. Something that I noticed. Hear me out. It's a bit of a theory I'm working on. This week, right? Like, so over the last number of weeks and months, not everyone, but a lot of people have been making the argument that the only way to get out of these fascist regimes are through violence. So, like, we're not voting our way out of it, brother. Like, fucking turn on COD flops in practice, because, like, we got to get out there and shoot at people. Which I disagree with. At this point, I disagree with that. Like, is it possible that it may get to a time where that is your only option? Sure, absolutely. Those moments do exist in history, right? Absolutely. But I don't think we're anywhere close to that. Doesn't mean it's not bad, right? And I know people say, well, they've killed 2 people. Yeah, I mean, cops and federal agents kill people all the time. That unfortunately does happen. And that doesn't mean that their lives don't mean anything, or it's less than or anything. That's not my point. My point is, this is very different than what I think people have in their heads about, like, the darkest ends of fascism.
Like, if you're just like if Trump were to send, like, the Marines to every polling center in the country and bar certain people from being able to enter,
then we're there.
That might be the time to take up arms.
Right. Like, we are absolutely there at that point, right?
Yeah.
And we're not there now. But the reason I bring this up, and what my theory is there, much like how when we think about, like, why does this system suck? And, like, America's greatest villain, it's Ronald Reagan, right? Like, 100% of the time. And then I think to myself, in the same vein, like, why do we think in these very weird ways that don't really make any sense? Or, like, we ignore certain parts of history and stuff? And what I find is the Ronald Reagan to that is white supremacy, right? And what I mean by that is this. I hear people say, oh, like, the only way to fight this is, like, to fight a fascist regime is through violence, right? That's the only way to get out of it. And then I think about it, and I realize that the reason people say that is because what their examples they often cite are World War II, right? Like, fucking Nazis, like, that's the obvious one. You got to fucking shoot them all, right? My stance on shooting Nazis is the stance that everyone should have, which is the more the better, okay? So that's not my argument of, like, we should do peace and love with Nazis. the reason I bring up white supremacy is white supremacy has led us to believe that those are the only type of fascist regimes. We had a fascist regime in America. The civil rights movement was a push against a fascist regime. That's what it was, right? Gandhi's fight in India is against a fascist regime. Those are nonviolent fights that they won without violence coming from their side. This idea, like, that's why they are historically important. That's why we go, wow, Gandhi and MLK were amazing people who did amazing things and garnered support. And those people that came to their, and joined them did amazing things. And it felt different because it was different. To say that the only way that you can end these things is to shoot your way out of it is to not actually understand history and not to understand modern history. Right? You can easily just go back to the 1930s. Well, like, that's the thing. Yeah, but that was one country fighting a war against the entire world. It's a very different situation, right? Also, the Germans didn't have the same setup, right? Like, the way in which Hitler came to power was through, like, yes, they voted for him, but like through very corrupt, weird ways, right? Like, it wasn't just
and
oh,
also,
he was great. And then
also understand that, like, people assume that, like, oh, like, Germans went to bed one day in 1933, and when they woke up, like, the Nazis had complete. Like, no, it took 6 years. Like there between Hitler coming to power and establishing the Third Reich and entering into world war with the rest of Europe was literally a 6-year gap. Like it took time for him to build the support. And again, like, that just it also goes to show you that, like, you have to remember that people in Germany around that time were going along to get along. Like exactly. The kind of famous thing is that, like, a third of the fucking German people were actual true blue Nazis, and then a third were just kind of indifferent to the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing, and that brings me to this week. Minnesota is showing you we are not in the same situation because the country is not 1/3 is like, I guess we'll just go along with that shit. The country, look at the polling, dude. People do not like this. Of all of the things that Trump is doing, or that Trump ran on, immigration was like the thing. He was, by the way, like, at the height, it was like 50-50, right? Like, even they never got above zero, right? They never were above water necessarily. It's below water at like 28 points. It's hated. What they're doing is absolutely
28. 28, you're being generous. YouGov did a poll earlier this week after the Pretti shooting.
Oh, and by the way, the 28% that I saw, that's before Alex was killed. So yeah, go ahead.
Correct. So the results of this poll is only 27% of people support how Trump is implementing the immigration policy.
Right.
So that means 73%. Well, sorry, I mean, you have a couple not sures in there, but most people are vehemently against, like, how this policy
exactly
is being implemented.
Right. So so I say all this to say that the reason I bring up white supremacy is because white supremacy fools you into believing that only what they found important, what they determined were fascist regimes, were really fascist regimes. Nobody talks about that the suppression of black people in the United States is considered a type of fascist regime. It was. They don't talk about how the suppression of an entire fucking subcontinent of India by the British was a fascist regime. It was. You don't talk about those things because they beat those things without firing a fucking shot. They beat them by not giving up and by pushing back. You can see that it works by exactly how the administration responded this week. Oh, we need your voter rolls and everything else. And they were like, no, we're not fucking doing that. And the rest of the country's like, get the entire fuck out of here with this bullshit. And businesses and everyone else was like, oh, this isn't good and we don't like this. And guess what happened? They're like, well, all right, we're going to get rid of Bovino. We're going to bring in Tom Holland. Blah, blah. They immediately pushed back because the polling and the response was that bad. So don't talk about you need guns necessarily. You don't. You might need it in the future, but you don't need it now.
You're seeing you're seeing Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem fucking knifing each other.
That's right.
trying to blame the other for what's going on. And you have sitting Republicans in Congress being like,
not retiring.
Yeah,
not retiring, by the way.
Yeah, not retiring, but like people that are in Congress, like regular ass Republicans. Not all of them, obviously, but like a lot of them coming out and being like, Kristi Noem's got to go.
Yo, Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis.
Yeah.
The world's worst, right? Tom Tillis is like, oh, well, Trump called me an idiot. I guess I could be head of DHS. It's like, or I could be, advisor to the president. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, wow. So this idea that we have to have a hot war against these guys in order to win is simply not true. It's not grounded in reality. It's grounded in watching too much television and movies. I'm not saying that those things don't exist historically, but this is not the same thing. So you got to stop with the only response is, what are you going to do? You got to get an AR-15, brother. Like, that's not the only fucking response. And we will beat this if we stop with the bullshit and focusing on bro dog fantasies like this is you're playing Contra with your friends, and focus on what's really happening. These people walking the streets out in Minnesota or Minneapolis and St. Paul very specifically, they are showing you to, like, as much as Matta pointed this out, like the classic fucking protest chant, this is what democracy looks like, but that is what it looks like. That is what actually people are pushing back and doing. And guess what? It's working. Is it sad that Alex and Renee were killed? 1,000% it's sad. That's what a fight is. Some people, unfortunately, get killed, and it's not good. It's bad. But they were able to push ICE. They're pushing ICE out of that entire state without ever firing a shot back. Because
we'll talk about the degree to which that's.
I'm not talking about defunding ICE. I'm not talking about that. But I'm saying
I'm talking about pushing ICE out of Minnesota because so far we have not seen evidence that is necessarily happening.
Oh, interesting. I don't imagine that happens overnight, but I do have to imagine. I think Holman's going to get. I mean, Holman doesn't give a shit about like what normies think, but I do think that if that starts to ratchet up, that noise ratchets up again. The thing is, Trump just doesn't want to hear it. Like, he doesn't care. He just doesn't want to hear it.
That is the important point. Is that the administration is now at the point of throwing shit against the wall to see what they can do. That's going to quiet the fervor down. So, like, the first thing was, all right, we're going to get Bovino out of here, and then we're gonna and that'll calm things down. And so, if people like be chill, like now that Tom Homan's there, which again, like you're not really getting an upgrade. I'll point out for the record that both Greg Bovino and Tom Homan are in positions that the Trump administration just invented for them, essentially. Like it's not like they're in actual positions that exist within DHS.
Interesting.
That have any kind of confirmation or anything like that.
They're
just like,
of course not.
Here's your special sheriff's badge, Greg Bovino. You're the commandant in chief, or some might even call you der Kommissar of ICE on the ground in all these cities. And he's like, "Oh, cool. Do I get a cool like commissar jacket?" They're like, "Of course,
of course,
like,
yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah." So
hair Bovino, like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and a lot of Democrats are gonna be like, cool, like, I guess it's good that Greg Bovino's out of there. That's not enough. Like, we want to investigate these agents. Like, we want, we need to, like, I saw Keith Ellison was doing a town hall earlier today, and he on CNN, and they have still not provided the names of the agents who murdered Alex Pretti to Minnesota authorities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's like, I've never seen anything like this before. It's insane to me.
No. So, I mean, look, again, it's not a perfect situation. I'm not like on some like, oh, everything's great now, like they're leaving. Yeah. But what I am saying is that pushback worked. It did work. Oh, yeah. It did work. So this idea
it got Trump on the phone with Tim Walz fucking immediately because trying to figure out a way.
Oh, he wanted that off ramp bad, dude. It's like, oh, we had a great talk. It was great. We were friends now. Like, all right.
By the way, I gotta. So Tim Walz talked to NBC about that call. Have you seen this quote? By the way,
I don't know
that Trump gave to Tim Walz. So he was talking to Tim Walz, and he was he's talking to Walz. He's like, I don't know what's wrong, with you people out there.
Yeah.
And Tim Walz is like, he's like, nothing's wrong. He's like, we're one of the most effective states and we're one of the best places to live. And then Trump was like, well, look, he's like, we did this in New Orleans. We did this in Louisville.
Yeah.
And there was no problems. And Tim Walz is like, well, you didn't kill anybody in New Orleans or Louisville. He's like, and the operation here, like with the amount of agents that you have, looks a lot different than what you did in those states. And then Trump said, well, we were successful in Venezuela.
Yeah, I heard that. I did hear this. Yeah,
which is an odd thing to say. I feel also an odd thing to say. Tom Homan talking about ICE being in the theater of Minnesota, which is a phrase commonly used for the theater of war.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
like so, if that's how ICE is thinking about this, like no fucking wonder people are getting murdered. In the fucking streets.
Well, maybe it's kind of like Pete Hegg says the reason he was like, things happen in the fog of war. It was like, it's not like literal fog. You fucking idiot. He was just like, no, just can't see, bro. It's crazy. Like, all right, like, oof, you guys are in charge. That's again, and I cannot state this enough. Having imposter syndrome makes no sense. If you've learned anything,
to paraphrase Donald Trump, they're not sending their best.
No. My dad had what's it called? Alzheimer's? Yeah, that's it. That's a literal quote from the president this week. It's like, I think you got it.
But again, like you're forcing the White House, you're forcing the administration to come out and to kind of offer concessions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to continue pushing. Like that. That's kind of the deal at the end of the day. The White House will get away with having to give as little as they have to.
Yep.
So you force them to give more. Now, does that mean that we're going to get what the ultimate goal should be? Which, by the way, defunding ICE, too small. Get rid of the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, 100%.
Probably what the end goal should be.
100%.
Are we going to get that? Probably not.
Here's the
that's
thing.
Probably really.
Here's the thing. You're not going to defund ICE, and you're not going to abolish ICE, and you're not going to get rid of Department of Homeland Security until you have a Dem as president. Like that, it's just
correct
fact. Okay, and even then, you can't get rid of ICE until 2029. Okay, or after 2029, you can't. Like legally, you can't.
And that's assuming that you have 60 votes in the Senate
exactly
to even do it in the.
So, because I know it's coming. And I know people in the hashtag do something in all capital letters crowd who never have any fucking actual thought process. They just like to yell. You can't get mad if Dems aren't pushing to abolish ICE. Like if they get control and you're like, why don't they just abolish ICE? They can't. Okay. Like they can't, right? The one big beautiful bill literally funds ICE through 2029. Like it just does, right? Now, you could technically fire everyone in ICE, I guess, and then just be like, I mean, one, you couldn't get that past the president, but unless you had like a veto majority or something weird situation like that, whisper of a dream. There's nothing you can,
but also like if the funding's there, like even if you can't fucking fire them or whatever, like let them sit in a room and fucking finger paint.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I don't give a shit.
Right.
Yeah. Like you already paid for it.
So. Right. But I mean, again, I actually think I agree with you that the ultimate goal of getting rid of the Department of Homeland Security, that's the ultimate goal. But like, I need Democrats to not get themselves in a fucking tizzy about like, why aren't they abolishing ICE? They can't right now. Like they just can't. They don't have the power to do that. Do they want to? Yeah, I think it's probably they do. Because I think like if you're a Democrat coming in as president and you've got the Senate and the House, and you got the votes to do it, oh, that feels good. Like that's an easy win. Everyone's like fucking high five and like we fucking nailed it. But like parts of that shit should be ripped out and sent to the Department of Justice, and like you need Border Patrol. You do need those things, but you can revamp them. Like, but you do not need ICE. You don't. Like these guys suck.
Now that being said, what the Democrats are currently doing,
no, that's not
good enough.
No. All right. Well, let's jump on that. Go for it.
Yeah. So the Senate reached an agreement with the White House today. So basically, what there are 6 funding bills currently in the Senate that have been passed by the House to continue funding the government past the shutdown extension, which I think is at the end of this week, if I'm not mistaken. So they have to get this shit kind of figured out. And Democrats had come out and it basically in the wake of this killing and how the administration reacted to it and everything like that by saying, hey, we're not voting for any package that includes this additional DHS funding. Like, Correct. It's not happening. Fuck off. Like, we're putting our fucking knife in the ground and saying that we're not budging on this. And to the credit of Senate Democrats, to a man, they had held to that line. Even fucking brain damaged John Fetterman was like, yeah, I'm not for supporting this funding bill that's currently going to give DHS funding. And so
I stand by that. He got a brick fell on his head again. He was like, oh, I'm back just for a day.
Sure. Just for a day. That being said, today it was announced that the Senate agreed with the White House on a bill that will provide the votes, or on an agreement that will provide the votes to get the 5 bills that don't include the additional DHS funding through, so that the government won't shut down. And then they are DHS will operate on a 2-week stopgap bill while they negotiate the particulars of how they want ICE to actually start behaving in this case. I don't like this because by continuing to fund ICE, by kicking the can down the road, you are funding ICE for another 2 weeks in a way.
You're not. You're extending the amount of money that they
right.
You're because they're already they are funded all the way through 2029, which I'll talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the other reason I don't like it is because unless ICE goes out and murders another white person on the fucking streets of Minneapolis this weekend, which not outside of the realm of possibility, you literally have there's no point where you're going to have more leverage to actually get monumental gains and concessions from the administration than you do right now in the wake of this, while the administration is still dealing with the fallout from this incident.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think you're going to get much out of them at all. But if you're going to do it, because look, my sentiments last week were before the Alex Pretti murder, so I don't disagree with you. They're on the ropes, which is why they're backing out of Minnesota, because they're like, right.
But my point is, in 2 weeks, are Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem still going to be at each other's throats? Are you still going to have Republicans calling for Kristi Noem to step down? Are you still going to have people in the streets every day in Minneapolis? Is the media still going to be talking about this murder? All of these things that are in your favor right now, you have your fucking boot on their neck. Tell the White House, you can either agree to our demands on ICE or you can shut the government down. Those are your fucking 2 choices. This 2-week stopgap thing is just completely bullshit capitulation from Chuck Schumer, and yet another reason why this dude needs to not be in fucking charge.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that.
Chris Van Hollen would be like, "Go fuck yourself." We're not giving you a single fucking vote until this fucking.
Look, I gotta tell you, Chris Van Hollen. If you want to try to be, want to try to lead the Senate, I'm cool with it.
I mean, look. As far as senators go, he's the one that seems to be most consistently out there, banging the drum.
No, he's great.
Message, being a fighter on these things.
Yeah, no, I like Van Hollen. Look, again, if he wants to try to run the Senate, I'm cool with that. If maybe he says, you know what, I'll sit back, just be a little bit of a fighter over here as I get my shit ready for 2028. I'm not mad at that either. Because I think he could make a real run. Because he's that dude. He's got a little bit of spice to him. Yeah, he's a hometown boy. I understand that. I get that. I get it. But at the same time,
also Dutch. He's appealing to me in multiple.
All right, now he's losing points. Jesus Christ. I'm not voting for some little wooden shoe wearing piece of shit. No.
There's only two things I hate in the world, Jay. People that are intolerant of other people's cultures.
And the Dutch, of course. That's still a great joke. Austin Powers fucking nailed it. It is
literally the best line from that entire movie.
Yeah, 100%. Also, how it's delivered is just perfect. So yeah, no, I agree. They are as Republicans are as vulnerable as they're going to be until they kill another person, right? Like this shouldn't be when you try to go for it. Go for it now, right? And I agree. Why lose the momentum for 2 weeks? Like that, like it's not even bad that you're like, hey, let's separate this and we're going to wait 2 weeks. It's that you're losing the momentum because you have so much of it right now. Why do you want to turn, like this is a time to not turn down the temperature. Make it worse for them and be like, look, guys, you did this thing. We didn't do it. You did it. And like, one of the things I do not understand, they're like, well, less troops and da-da-da. I'm like, get them to take the fucking masks off. That's the number one thing.
That is one of the things that
apparently
what the caucus is united around on the Democratic side as far as like what changes they want for ICE is to replace masks with body cameras, to replace to force them to carry ID with them, and to force them to coordinate with local law enforcement when they're carrying out these these things, these exercises that they're going on. And I like those are good starts. Like that's wonderful. The administration has not shown that they're willing to follow the law in any way, shape, or form so far. So I don't know why you think that they would just go along with this fucking shit. Even if you do get the bill and the language in there as it is, but you need to do more. Like you need to put ultimatums in the ground and fucking hold the line and ensure that you get that stuff. Because again, people are literally being fucking murdered in the streets by these assholes.
Yep. There's no reason to allow this to keep going. None. All right, news you need. I just titled this one, Yuck. This is breaking news. Trump floats Ted Cruz for the Supreme Court.
I mean, on the bright side, he is at least older than most Supreme Court nominations that they're putting up.
Oh.
I guess that's about the only silver lining.
And he just eats cans of like canned soup, so his days have got to be numbered. Yeah, Trump said, speaking Wednesday at a Washington summit promoting the administration's new Trump accounts. By the way, if you sign up for those Trump accounts, you are one of those suckers born every minute.
I don't even know what they are, and I don't want to know.
They're like savings accounts for kids. They're gonna steal that money, guys. They're gonna steal that money. They got Nicki Minaj out there promoting it. They're gonna steal that money. They're gonna steal it.
Mom and Dad, don't get me Pokemon cards. I yearn for low interest yields.
Yo, Scott, or what's his name? Scott Bassett. Like that guy, he has the charisma like of toilet paper. Like I went to a protest one time. I brought a picket sign. Like, no, you didn't. Like, you're lying. Yes. And the kids, some kids want toys, but other kids, your parents will be able to get you a Trump account. Yeah, and when you go to school and tell your friends that you got a Trump account, they're going to beat your ass. Like, they're going to just beat you up and throw you in a trash can. Get out of here. But yeah, while he was promoting these soon-to-be empty Trump accounts as they steal your money, Trump called Cruz, quote, a very tough guy, very brilliant guy, adding, he's a brilliant legal mind, he's a brilliant man. If I nominate him for the United States Supreme Court, I will get 100% of the vote. Trump then framed the idea as politically convenient for both parties. The Democrats will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out.
I mean, they're not wrong.
He's not wrong about that, actually. And the Republicans will vote for him because they want him to get the hell out too. God damn! Like, dude,
that's so. Oh my god.
When
he's funny, he's funny. I mean, what
that's hilarious. Like, no, everyone hates this guy. Just get him to the Supreme Court so we never have to see him. Look, here's the thing. I don't know if I would categorize because, and I'm not saying this like as a negative. I literally don't know. I don't know that I would categorize Ted Cruz as a brilliant legal mind, but he did argue in front of the Supreme Court a number of times. Like, he's not an idiot. Like, he actually is legally, like, I guess, quite intelligent, right? That being said, I don't think Democrats would vote for him. Like, they would want him out of Congress, but I don't think they would vote for him to be on the Supreme Court. I don't think so at all. Like, I think that's a funny line.
Let me ask you this question: Does he have to? Does he have to give up his Senate seat before he should have nominated?
He should have to.
Yeah.
I don't think you do, but he should have to. Like now you got to give it up first.
Never forget my favorite anecdote. Actually, it's not an anecdote. It's just something that Lindsey Graham said. But never forget what Lindsey Graham said when he said that if you killed Ted Cruz in the Senate and you held the trial on the Senate floor, you would not get a conviction.
Yeah,
like that's what Lindsey Graham said about Ted Cruz.
You know, everyone hates that dude. He's an obnoxious dickhead. Yes, he's an obnoxious dickhead.
I wonder. So you remember in House of Cards where Underwood had like that U.S. attorney that was, like getting ready to angle against him, and so his bright idea was to get her on the Supreme Court so that she wouldn't be a fucking pain in his ass anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is like a Trump thing, because the story also came out earlier this week that there were some audio recordings that were leaked out from a Republican source of Ted Cruz talking to Donald Trump about tariffs. And he told Trump, he's like, if we get to November and people 401ks are down 30% and prices are up at the supermarket, we're going to go into election day and face a bloodbath. You're going to lose the House, you're going to lose the Senate, and you're going to spend the next 2 years being impeached every single week. And Trump's response to Ted Cruz on these audio recordings was, fuck you, Ted.
Fuck you. Yeah. Straight up. Just straight up. It's like,
oh, God.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. I mean, it could very well be that. Like, it could be. He certainly does not really like Ted Cruz. And this would be a nice capitulation of like, hey, bro, like, I think you're a piece of shit, but I know that you would vote party line and you would help me get shit across. Here's the thing about Ted Cruz, though. I don't know, putting Ted Cruz on the Supreme Court wouldn't be one of those things that might backfire for Republicans. Because I think Ted Cruz, the senator, might be very different than Ted Cruz, like the legal mind, where like he knows the shit that he's like, let's fudge it, versus like you find a lot of times a lot of these guys get on the court and they're like, yeah, but that's not what the law says. And some of them are pieces of shit. Don't get me wrong, Sam Alito. But some of them,
you heard it here first. Jay says Ted Cruz, the next David Souter.
Yeah. One could only wish, but you don't know, right? And so I'd have to go back and look at like what cases he argued in front of the Supreme Court. It'd be interesting to know that, but it's not always like you're going to throw a conservative on there and they're going to always agree with you. Like that's especially once they're on there, because they're like, I'm free, baby. And he doesn't like Trump. So like he could have the incentive to just be like, fuck that guy. What are you going to do about it now?
Remember when you called my wife ugly?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Like it could be a very dangerous thing where he could pull one of those fucking John McCain things like, oh, and the last vote is Ted Cruz. No. Like, oh, like, so you got to be careful about putting a perceived enemy on the Supreme Court, because once you nominate him, and by the way, I don't think he'd make it. But if he for some reason got on the court, you might have played your cards a little wrong. Instead of talking a lot of shit on that dude, where he could just be like, yeah, your agenda, go fuck yourself.
Well, if you're gonna do it, you better fucking do it soon, because
no,
like I said, I don't necessarily. Yeah.
You know, one thing I'm hoping, you mentioned that it's interesting that the Supreme Court is holding the tariff decision, right? Which I think we all are in agreement that they're likely going to be like, you can't do this because you're fucking the money up. No, I think there is a chance that they come out and they're like, all right, we disagree, can't do the tariffs. And he flips the fuck out. And he goes after these members of the court. And those guys are like, oh, like we're pieces of shit? And now you got like your people yelling at us? We're not leaving. We're going to stay on through the fucking midterms and completely fuck him. It's possible. I think it's
the problem is that
possible.
the two people who would be most likely to leave are his fucking foot soldiers.
Yeah, but again, it would mean that it would have to be a surefire vote that would lose. and that they would be like the only two. Because again, it's about fucking up the money. And all of these guys are money hungry. And if they think that it's, I mean, by the way, we'll talk about tariffs in a few minutes. Things are not doing well. Financially are not doing well. So I don't know. Maybe they all come out unanimously and they're like, nah, fuck this. This is crazy.
That would be something.
Because he would flip the fuck out. You know he would flip the fuck out. And it would be the perfect response of being like, we're going to retire before the midterms. I think I'll just stay on. They can stay on. I mean, how hard do they work? They don't. I mean, come on.
Well, so here is the thing with that is that their term does end in June. So I would think if you're going to get retirements, they're going to be announced before the midterms. But to your credit, like if they somehow against the laws of logic come out 9-0 against them in this tariff situation, and it completely fucks that whole operation up. Yeah, you could see Alito and Thomas potentially like spite.
I can see it. Maybe. So if that happens, dude, you want to talk about one of the snatching the jaws of victory, or snatching victory out of the jaws of or defeat, or whatever the terminology is. Like that would be it. Like if you lose that tariff thing, the problem is you got to shut the fuck up. Right.
Problem is those two though; they're both fucking true believers. So
I know. Ugh, Opus Dei bullshit.
Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.